With that dominant news story this week, the Boston Marathon bombing.
That's right. Let's start off by looking at the Boston Globe at its website that it says families mourn victims as details of the bomb emerge, and you can see a photo on their website there of people mourning a candlelit vigil there. Now, one commentator yesterday said that this was a tough blow, but for a very tough town. And there's a cartoon in the Boston Globe today that shows the real solidarity that's come out of this in Boston, and you see everyone there wearing jerseys, marathon jerseys, and it says that after Monday, Boston is a city of runners. A lot of papers today are coming back on the events from Monday with trying exact timelines, trying to understand exactly what happened. For instance, this is a map in the Independent, a good graphic explaining what it calls the timeline of terror, just how the day unfolded and how Bostonians reacted. And what's interesting here is this is a print version of the Independent, and they have reprinted photos that were on Twitter, Instagram, etc., as well as tweets from Boston residents and how they were reacting, donating blood, etc.
Okay, so that crossover into the traditional print media really showing how important social media is today, really.
That's right. Within minutes of the bombing, everything was buzzing on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc. Everyone was trying to document what happened. This is one of the photos that's become somewhat of an icon of the bombing. Now, it shows a man there. His name is Jeff Bauman. He's 27 years old, and he was there to cheer on his girlfriend who was participating in the marathon. And in the end, he was in the explosion. Both of his legs were amputated. What's interesting about this photo, though, is that his father, who's also called Jeff Bauman, recognized his son in this photo on Facebook, and that's how he knew that his son had been injured. That's when he started contacting hospitals, and that's how he found his son. Also, the man with the cowboy hat in this photo has become somewhat of an internet hero as well. His name is Carlos Arredondo, and he has become a hero for saving, actually, the young man. And Jeff Bauman's family says that they hope to get in contact with him very soon. But what's interesting also is that despite all this media on Facebook, Twitter, etc., there are a lot of people who, they believe that maybe the government was behind this. And there's an interesting article in SLATE that says, yes, there will be marathon truthers.
Meaning conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theorists, exactly. And it says that despite the fact that there are all these photos and videos, etc., in fact, maybe it is all these photos and videos that will actually give these people fodder, as it says.
Okay, well, they're certainly throwing up some very harrowing personal stories, like the young man in the wheelchair there that you were talking about. Speaking more broadly, though, what does this all mean for the United States? And that's a big question for the newspapers as well.
That's right. That's what the Wall Street Journal explores in its editorial today. And it says that, this was an all too familiar act of terrorism. And since 9/11, the U.S. has hardened its airports and ports, but could this be a new tactic to target these hard-to-defend events like a marathon? And the Wall Street Journal says that this is a reminder of how vulnerable the U.S. homeland is. The worst is far from over. We still can't relax, says the Wall Street Journal. And they call for a constant vigilance, and such as using the controversial preemptive surveillance used by the police.
Very controversial indeed. Immediate consequence being felt in Britain today. We've been talking about Margaret Thatcher's funeral. Security has been reviewed there in the light of the Boston Marathon bombing.
That's right. The Independent comes back on this, just how security has been stepped up, and they have a good map there about just where the funeral procession will go. It says that, the procession will go by landmarks in London that really marked her time as Prime Minister, so the House of Commons, Downing Street, ending in St. Paul's Cathedral. Now, a lot of the British press, as you can imagine, is focusing on this. For instance, the Daily Mail, it's on the front page today. It shows a photo of her casket, and it says, near her journey's end. Also, on the Daily Telegraph here, the right-wing newspaper also comes back about her legacy, and all the while lashing out at these protesters who says that they plan on crashing her funeral procession.
Certainly a very controversial event. I'm sure we'll be seeing more coverage in tomorrow's newspapers as well for the time being. Thanks very much, Florence VILLEMINOT there with the International Press Review here on France 24. Okay, now coming up for you, we're going to be looking at a very expensive CD indeed. 4 million euros for this CD. Tax officials in Germany paid that much for it. It's not a David Hasselhoff best of. It's got information about people holding Swiss bank accounts. Matthew Warren with more on that in business after this very short break.